Thanksgiving was supposed to be a time for family, celebration, and reflection. But for Andrew, this year's gathering was about to turn into something much more complicated. He had been looking forward to introducing his sophisticated and accomplished girlfriend, Maya, to his family for the first time. However, what should have been a joyful meal quickly became a confrontation that would change everything. Andrew never anticipated that his attempt to unite the woman he loved with his family would be marred by a volatile clash with his domineering mother, Denise. And when Denise made a seemingly innocent gesture with the gravy boat, no one could have predicted the disaster that followed. Andrew Foster, 29, a marketing strategist living in downtown New York, had spent weeks preparing for this moment. This was the first time he was bringing Maya, his girlfriend of 9 months, to meet his family. Maya, 27, was a beacon of grace, an Oxford graduate with a passion for social justice, working as a public defender. Her wit, compassion, and intelligence were the qualities that made Andrew fall for her. Still, Maya was apprehensive. "Are you sure this is a good idea?" she asked as they packed their bags for the drive to his family home in Redwood, Ohio. "Absolutely," Andrew replied, squeezing her hand reassuringly. "My father is easygoing, and my sister Lily will be thrilled to meet you. My mom, she just needs some time." Maya raised an eyebrow. "That sounds like an understatement." Andrew hesitated. His mother, Denise Foster, was a tall, platinum-blonde woman with a sharp tongue and a fierce protectiveness over her only son. While Andrew loved her deeply, he knew she often struggled with people who were different from her, especially when it came to Maya's background. Still, Andrew hoped this Thanksgiving would go smoothly. Upon arrival at the Foster family's cozy home, Maya's nerves began to surface. The house, decorated in a traditional Thanksgiving style with pumpkins and autumn wreaths, seemed warm and welcoming. But when Denise opened the door, her icy gaze immediately set the tone. "Andrew," Denise greeted, her smile tight and strained. "And you must be Maya." Her steely blue eyes scrutinized Maya, lingering a little too long on her dark skin. Maya, ever poised, extended her hand with a bright smile. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Mrs. Foster." Denise barely glanced at her hand before muttering, "Come on in." Inside, Andrew's father, Brian, a big-hearted man with a booming voice, greeted Maya with enthusiasm. "Maya, welcome. Andrew's told us so much about you." Andrew's younger sister, Lily, immediately took a liking to Maya, engaging her in a lively conversation about travel, books, and the law. For a brief moment, Maya relaxed, until Denise's sharp voice cut through the chatter. "So, Maya," Denise began as they munched on appetizers, "do your parents also make Thanksgiving dinner, or is that something you don't really do?" Maya paused, sensing the thinly veiled judgment. "Oh, Thanksgiving is a big deal in our family. My mom makes the best cornbread stuffing." "How charming," Denise replied, her tone dripping with condescension. Andrew shot his mother a stern look, but she ignored him. Dinner was served in the elegant dining room, where a large turkey, mashed potatoes, green beans, and cranberry sauce filled the table. As everyone settled into their seats, Maya noticed Denise had positioned herself directly across from her, as though preparing for a showdown. "So, Maya," Denise began, her voice loud enough to fill the room, "what kind of lawyer are you? Personal injury? Family law?" Maya maintained her composure. "I'm a public defender. I specialize in cases related to systemic racial injustice." Denise's eyebrows shot up. "How noble of you," she said, her voice mocking. Brian interjected, "That sounds incredibly important, Maya. You must be doing amazing work." Maya smiled. "I try my best." But just as the conversation moved on, Denise wasn't finished. As Maya reached for a serving of green beans, Denise abruptly spoke up. "Careful with those," she said, her tone biting. "We wouldn't want you to take more than your share." The room fell silent. Maya's face flushed with embarrassment, but she remained poised. Andrew, however, had reached his breaking point. "Mom, that's enough," he snapped. "Maya's a guest in our home. Show some respect." Denise's expression hardened. "I'm just making sure everyone feels comfortable, Andrew." But it wasn't until dessert that things truly began to unravel. Trying to smooth things over, Maya complimented Denise on the turkey. It was really delicious, Mrs. Foster. Denise's smile was as cold as ice. Oh, you liked it? I wasn't sure if it would suit your taste. Andrew's patience snapped. Mom, cut it out. Denise was undeterred. With a smug look, she picked up the gravy boat and began to wave it over Maya's plate. Here, why don't you try some gravy? It might make everything taste better, she said, a wicked gleam in her eyes. Before anyone could react, Denise tilted the boat, and thick, hot gravy splattered all over Maya's dress. Shocked gasps filled the room. Oh my God! Lily shouted. Mom, what the hell is wrong with you? Maya stood, her face a mixture of disbelief and anger. Andrew jumped to his feet. What is your problem, Mom? Denise feigned innocence. Oh, Maya, I'm so sorry. I didn't see your dress. It's so dark, you know. Brian's face went pale. Denise, that's enough. Apologize right now. Maya, breathing deeply to calm herself, spoke with icy clarity. Mrs. Foster, I've encountered people like you before, but I never thought I'd encounter this from someone who raised such a wonderful son. Andrew, now visibly furious, pulled Maya aside. I'm so sorry. I didn't expect this from her. It's not your fault, Maya said quietly. But I can't stay here. Andrew nodded. We're leaving? When they re-entered the dining room, Andrew stood tall and faced his family. Mom, I'm done. Maya and I are leaving. And until you learn to treat her with the respect she deserves, we won't be back. Denise's face turned beet red. You gonna walk out on Thanksgiving? I am, Andrew said, his voice resolute. He grabbed Maya's hand, and together they left, leaving the family stunned into silence. Back at their apartment in New York, Andrew and Maya sat together, exhausted but stronger than ever. I'm so sorry, Andrew repeated. I'll talk to her. She has to change. Maya smiled faintly. I don't need her approval, Andrew. I just need to know that you're by my side. I am, he said, with unwavering conviction. Always. The next day, there was a knock on their door. Standing there were Brian and Lily, holding containers of leftover food. We couldn't let you miss out on Thanksgiving, Brian said with a sheepish grin. Lily gave Maya a hug. I'm sorry about Mom. She's wrong, and we'll make sure she understands that. Over the next few weeks, Brian and Lily worked hard to help Denise see the error of her ways. It wasn't easy, but little by little, her heart softened. By Christmas, Denise offered Maya a sincere apology, and the family began to heal. Thanksgiving wasn't about the meal, the decorations, or even the chaos that unfolded. It was about standing up for love, setting boundaries, and finding a way to move forward despite the challenges. For Andrew and Maya, it was a reminder that love can overcome even the most difficult obstacles, even when things get messy. Christmas came, and with it, the possibility of healing. Maya and Andrew were unsure about attending the family dinner, but Andrew was optimistic. Let's give it a shot, he suggested. If things go wrong, we leave together. Maya reluctantly agreed. The evening was surprisingly calm. Denise tried to engage Maya in conversation, and although the atmosphere remained somewhat tense, it was clear that Denise was making a real effort. Just as dessert was being served, a knock on the door interrupted the evening. Denise stood up to answer it. When she opened the door, her face turned pale as she saw a sharply dressed man standing on the doorstep. Who is it? She asked, her voice shaking. The man stepped forward, his presence commanding. Mrs. Foster, he said in a deep, calm voice. I'm Ronald Simmons, Maya's father. The room fell completely silent. Maya's fork dropped to her plate as she stood in shock. Dad, what are you doing here? Ronald smiled warmly at his daughter. I came to meet the family that's become so important to you, and I think it's time Mrs. Foster and I had a conversation. Denise's knees wobbled. You're Maya's father? She whispered. Yes, Ronald replied firmly. And we have something to talk about. As the conversation unfolded, Denise's past came to light. Ronald revealed that years ago, when Denise had been a young woman, she had tried to have him fired from his job because of his race. It was a revelation that shook the entire family. I never thought I would see this day, Denise whispered, her eyes filling with tears. Maya's heart raced. She wasn't sure what to say, but Andrew gently squeezed her hand. "It's time for healing," he whispered. For the first time in a long while, Denise Foster truly understood what it meant to change. And with that, the Thanksgiving disaster had become the beginning of something much more powerful than anyone could have imagined.